All right, everybody, welcome to the JK Theory. Here we talk about anything and everything. No topic is left untouched, no stone is left unturned. We give you the raw, real, uncut. Now, before we get into it, I'm Jay,
Okay.
It's your girl Chachi.
and this is the JK Theory. So, we've, of course, have our special guest, Chachi, in today, and we're actually going to do a topic that we haven't touched on that we all love and admire, and that's the true crime. So, what we decided to do is we would each pick a certain state and then try to find a true crime that we can talk about that hasn't really been publicly mentioned or got that star notoriety out there. So, I got New York, Chachi got New Jersey, Kay got Texas. So I'm going to start it off. This is just a brief synopsis of what went down. And if you guys want to hear more about our stories, give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know. 91% of our viewers are not subscribers. So help the algorithm out, help us out so we can get this channel moving. So my guy again, he's from New York. His name is Daniel Rakowitz. Now, Daniel, at first glance, if you were an outsider looking in, you're like, oh, he's a pretty normal guy, pretty thoughtful guy. Like Daniel was known as the Chicken Man in the neighborhood of New York. He grew up in the Lower East. Well, he didn't grow up. He was in the Lower East Side, living in New York. This was around 1989, 1990. And the reason they called him the Chicken Man was he was known to walk around the neighborhood with a pet rooster or a dead chicken hanging on his neck. The reason he'd have a dead chicken hanging on his neck is because he would go to the slaughterhouse and buy like 20 chickens at a time, take them home, slaughter them, cook them up, and he would feed the homeless. I mean, come on, you can't really hate the guy, right? I mean, he's feeding the homeless. So there's an area in the Lower East Side known as Tent City. I believe it's Tompkins Park, and Tent City was where the homeless lived. He understood how it was to be homeless. He had a pretty tough childhood growing up. If you want to know more about that, let us know. We can do a deep dive. But the guy wasn't all there mentally, but at least his heart was in the right place, right? So he ended up doing a lot of side gigs for work. He could never really find like a legitimate 9 to 5 job. He was mostly a dishwasher, but then he would do little odds and ends here and there. Whenever he couldn't find the money or save up the money to feed the homeless, he'd go to the grocery stores and just panhandle, ask people for money, not for himself, literally to buy these chickens and feed the homeless. So he started doing some extracurricular activities and started to become a street pharmacist, if you know what I mean. And he was selling the green stuff. And he ended up selling it to this beautiful woman. She was from Switzerland. She was actually in New York on a dance scholarship, and she was struggling too. I mean, yes, she got the scholarship, but she still has to pay rent, pay bills, and do all that stuff. So on the side, she was working at a go-go bar or at a strip joint, if you know what I mean. And that's what she would do to make money. So she ran into David because David was a street pharmacist, and they started talking and acting in the recreational activities. And David had this bright idea. Hey, why don't you come live with me? Like, I've got one other roommate. She's getting ready to go. I've got the space. It's more space than you have now, and you'll save money. So her name was Monica Burrow. So Monica was like, you know what? That makes total sense. Yeah, I'll move in with you. So they ended up moving in. So now we've got 3 people in an apartment. So we've got David, we've got Sylvia, which is the roommate, and then Monica, which is the dancer. So Sylvia would notice that sometimes she'd come home to the apartment and the door was locked. Like they had a rule, like if somebody's in the house, don't lock the door, so we can just go in and out as we please. So the door was locked, and she would knock on the door, and it would take a couple minutes for David to answer the door. And every time he'd answered it, he would fix his shirt or fix his pants. So she had the assumption that her and David were busy, right? That Monica and David were actually doing something. So Sylvia kept an eye out on Monica, just trying to feel her out. She doesn't really know her that much. They would have little side conversations. And one day, Sylvia, which again, Sylvia is the friend, Sylvia went to David and was like, look, you need to watch what you're doing. Like, from what I gather from her, she's trying to get her name on the lease, and then kick you out. Like, I'm moving out. So once I'm gone, if her name's on that lease, I can't help you. I can't do nothing. Like, I can't help her from stopping you from kicking you out. So David was like, no, no, we're in love. We're together. Yes, we slept together. We're just trying to work this out. And it's fine. Don't worry about it. So she's like, all right, I warned you. So Sylvia confronted Monica about it and was like, are you and David a thing? Like, what's going on here? Like, David told me you guys were together. Monica was like, yeah, we're together. And she goes, oh, okay. Shortly after that, we don't know exactly when, but we're talking a matter of days. Monica changed the relationship. Monica cut off the what adults do, and Monica then started inviting men to the house. And one of the guys was a Jamaican guy, and Sylvia went to the apartment because she lives there too. As soon as she walks through the door, she notices this guy sitting there, and she's like, "Oh, well, I didn't know you guys were separated or doing anything." And she was like, "Yeah, he's my friend. We're just friends." She confronted David about it, told her what happened. Now, David, again, was a pretty nice guy at this point, feeding the homeless. But Sylvia noticed that David didn't really like certain people. He kind of had a bad taste in his mouth if you were not white. Also had a bad taste in his mouth if you were not straight. So that seemed to bother David. She can tell by his face. So David confronted Monica, was talking about it, and she ended up breaking up with David, but they were still living in the same apartment. Now things got weird, okay? David got really weird. David got so weird to the point that in chicken blood on the front door of the apartment, it said the Church of 966. Then it said Charlie Gein, Spawn Ranch East, right on his door. So that was a combination of Charles Manson and Ed Gein. And then Spawn would be him. He's the Spawn. He's the son of their weird baby that doesn't like by people. But and then East, I guess Lower East Side. So Monica would invite friends over and they're like, what is going on? Like, why is this written on your door? And why does it say Church of 966 on your walls? Like, oh, that's just my roommate. He's harmless, whatever. So the friends start getting in her ear. You need to get rid of him. You need to get rid of him. He's weird. When he comes around, he talks about how the government is always after him, how, we need to fight the man, and how the man doesn't care about us, and how I'm a god, and you need to listen to me and what I do, and Church of 966 is going to revolutionize everything. So the guy was just off the charts, right? So one time they got into an argument. They, as in Monica and David. David got upset. David would say stuff under his breath. I hate you. I'm going to kill you. I hate you. No, I love you. I love you. Like the guy was like schizo. So David called Sylvia and was like, she's doing this, this, and that. I'm going to kill her. I'm telling you, I'm going to kill her. You need to help me hide the body. I'm going to kill her. No, no, no. I love her. I love her. I'm not going to kill her. So that gave red flags to Sylvia. Sylvia was like, I got to tell Monica. Like, at this point, Sylvia left. Sylvia don't live there no more. But she doesn't want David to get in trouble. So she goes to Monica when they're at the apartment. She's like, hey, can I talk to you for a sec? And they talk, privately. And Sylvia goes, he says he's going to kill you. And Monica goes, me? He's going to kill me? She leaves the room, opens David's door, and says, oh, you're going to kill me? Well, guess what? I'm going to kill you before you kill me. She leaves the room. And that just set David off, right? So the whole week he's talking about how he's going to kill her, whatever. So David's in his room. He's hanging out with a friend, a male friend. I don't know why I did that. It is a male friend. It's a male friend. And Monica comes in, barges in the room, and says, David, you have till tomorrow to pack your stuff and get out. And if you're not going to get out, I'm going to come back tomorrow with a friend who has a pit bull and there's going to be problems. I'm like, really, a pit bull? Anyway, David did not like it. David's friend whispered to him and said, "You haven't killed her yet?" As soon as Monica turns around to walk out, David grabs the extension cord, puts it over her neck, lights out. Once she falls to the floor, he proceeds to Seth Rollins stomp her head 10 times. Anyway, after that, he takes a 6-inch sharp object and starts injecting her body 30 times. Then he starts breaking bones. He can't break the bones with his bare hands, so he finds a metal pipe and he just starts breaking bones so he can actually dissect the body. And I have to be careful what words I say because I don't want to get this flagged or demonetized. But he starts breaking down the body like Legos. Okay. He even gets to the point where he takes a 12-inch kitchen knife and starts going to work. He decapitates her. Him and his friend, which his friend, by the way, is a Satanist, start working on it. And yes, it gets very messy in the house. So time goes by. Sylvia wants to visit David. So Sylvia comes to the apartment. She reaches for the door and it's not locked because they normally don't lock it if somebody's there, right? She walks in, she notices that the TV's a little bit louder than usual. And she's like, David, David? Nobody in the apartment, nobody she can see. She goes in the bedroom, doesn't see anything. She goes in the kitchen, just, pots and stuff. She lifts up the pot lid, and there's her decapitated head in there, burnt, eyes shut. She freaks out in a panic. She goes to vomit, so she runs to the bathroom. When she gets to the bathroom, there's the torso in the tub full of red liquid. She can see the rib cage, and then she can see as if flesh or meat was pulled off of it by hand. There's parts everywhere. Her insides are floating in the tub with her. She loses it. She calls David immediately and was like, David, did you do this? And David goes, I'm sorry you had to see that. Not sorry I did it. I'm sorry you had to see that. Don't worry. I'm coming home. I'll be there in a minute. He gets there. He's like, I'll clean this up. Don't worry. They clean it up, or he cleans it up. And what ends up being left is a bucket. Think of like a Home Depot bucket or a Walmart bucket, those industrial buckets filled with bones and kitty litter. It's to hide the smell. Now, from the day that it happened to the day that Sylvia arrived, 10 days have passed. So a lot of the parts were smelly. So he ended up putting some of the parts in his fridge, and he was actually consuming the parts as well throughout the days. Yeah, man was sick. When it came to the head, I don't know what the medical term is for head, but when it came to the head, when Sylvia looked at it, at this point, it was as if she saw a head from a textbook, just a skeleton, just pure white. There's nothing else on it. And David would every now and again would just get mad and would start yelling at the head and spitting at the head and saying, at least you have a place to stay here now. At least you have a place to stay now. Look at you. You look more beautiful now than you ever did. He ends up putting the head in the bucket. They end up going to a a bus station in New York, and they drop off the bucket in a locker and leave it. Bro, a month goes by before detectives start getting weary about it. They start asking around, this, and that. You're thinking he got away with it, right? But let me tell you, the whole time, all David was doing was bragging about what he did. Oh, I killed her. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. Was telling all the homeless people, anybody that would sit and listen to the story, he would tell it to. Okay. So anyway, the cops start asking, they start getting suspicious, and they ask Sylvia, they go to the apartment, Sylvia's there, and the cops, all they have is hearsay. So they say, Sylvia, we know what happened. You need to fess up to it or you're going down with David as well. The cops didn't know shit. Cops didn't have nothing. Sylvia sang like a bird, bro. Told them the whole thing, right? So they're like, okay, we got to find this David guy. And the twist in the story was when Sylvia found the head the first time and she called David, David was like, I'll be there in a minute because he was out feeding the homeless. He fed her head and flesh to the homeless people. People, there were people that went to the cops and said, I found Knuckles floating in the soup with the potatoes and all this stuff. Like he fed it to us. So, oh, sick, right? Now, his friend that was with him, the Satanist guy, his name was Randy Charles Easterday. They caught him and they let him go because they had no proof that he was actually there, right? Now, David, he rotted in jail, right? Nope. He got away with it. They deemed it not guilty for reason of insanity. He's in a state penitentiary for the criminally insane, still alive, still till this day. So that's the story of David Rakowitz in Lower East Side, New York. So if you want to hear more about this story, because this guy has a sick past, let us know. You want us to take a deep dive, leave a comment. But that's my story, and I hope you like it. Give us a thumbs up. So do you guys got any questions for me?
Was that the only person he killed?
As far as we know, he's killed a dog that he had. He's decapitated animals, but he hasn't bragged about killing other people. Chacha, you look concerned.
See, I'm figure out exactly what would be his motive outside of obviously mental illness. Um, I watch a lot of true crime, right? And it I guess what's most sickening about this is not only do like they get away with it at some point, but it's also the people that they're associated with. Like this lady, what was her name again? Sylvia?
The one he offed or his friend?
No, his friend.
Sylvia, yeah.
Sylvia. I mean, it makes you think like, did did you excuse his rituals and like the weird things he was doing with blood and stuff because he was just that guy? Like he's just that crazy friend you have? Or is it more so of like no one will believe me, kind of thing?
Or
Because
maybe scared that she'll be next, right?
right, exactly, and it's just so sad because a part of me always kind of feels bad for the people that do this. Like I feel like I mean, especially like in the 80s and the 70s, no one really took mental illness seriously. And they would always say, like, you never know who your neighbors are. No, you really didn't know who your neighbors were. Like back then, it
Exactly.
was like almost every town, every neighborhood had this one crazy person that would either, like off people in silence or people would be disappearing and there was always that one weird person in the neighborhood. And I feel like this was that guy. Like people were just like, oh, he's just the chicken guy who feeds homeless people. Like he's such a good guy. You started off like this story and I'm like, wow, he's a really good guy. When does it get messed up? You know?
And it's interesting because I've done a deep dive on him, and you got to understand his past to really see where he's coming from.
Yeah,
So I say that it all starts with the roots. It all starts with the beginnings. What your I don't want to say what you're experienced on. It's like what the information or the people or the environment that you're made aware of can mold you into something sick.
totally.
So, and what sucks too is, come on, at the end of the day, let's be totally honest. We all have that friend or know someone that isn't doing stuff by the book. And we're not going to not be their friend because they did X, Y, and Z. And maybe this is what happened because obviously there's some connection, there's some deep connection between David and Sylvia that David's like, you need to help me hide the body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that with just anybody. So there's got to be something more. I don't know more about their relationship or their friendship, but I do know a lot about David's past, and it is definitely twisted. So let us know what you guys think about this story. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you want us to do a deep dive, we definitely will. I'm going to cut this one short. The next story will be from Kay. And until next time, I'm Jay,
I'm K.
And I'm Chachi.
and this is the JK Theory. Peace.
Peace.
People soup.
Like literally, like and that's what I'm saying. When you said that he was feeding homeless people, I thought about that. I was like, what if he's feeding people? You know?